everybody. Welcome back to Teaching Thursday. This week we're going to talk about sectors, which are actually a very important piece when it comes to stocks, equities, in the stock market in terms of how everything is broken down. Because what's going to happen is you're going to watch some of these shows like Fox Business, CNBC, so on and so forth, and they're basically going to look at the market as a whole, and they're going to say, okay, what sectors are popping, what sectors are not popping. And we may have mentioned before about something called sector down, where you kind of look at to see how that sector is performing, and that can actually be used as a tool to find stocks to invest in. Because if you're looking at, let's say, the financial sector, you might be like, oh, that sector is up 50% of the year, well, maybe I should look at stocks within that sector. And so the way that the sectors are broken down is different companies might have a different amount. It usually ranges anywhere from 10 to 12 sectors. But for the most part, there's going to be some commonalities to it, and a few sectors that are going to be a part of the stock market. These aren't all of them, of course, but a few of them would be something like financial, healthcare, tech, and utilities. So let's say you're watching one of these news programs and they happen to mention, oh, the financial and the tech sector are both booming today, but the healthcare and the utility sectors are down. Well, that should automatically tell you a little bit something about the market. Finance is up, tech is up. So you might be thinking, well, if finance is up, it must be something good in terms of loans, people with getting insurance. It must be something good with that particular area. If tech is up, that means innovation is up. People are buying more, computers, more, anything that's going to be related with the technology component. And then if the healthcare and the utility sectors are down, if healthcare is down, so is it like, are there more healthy people out there? Are there not as many admissions in the hospital? Are drugs not being discovered as much? And then if you think about utilities, what time of the year is it? Is gas bill down? Is your electric bill down? How is that affecting that particular sector? So when you look to see which sectors are up, which ones are down, or just looking at the sector as a whole, then you'll be able to break it down. So we mentioned about the financial sector. Well, the financial sector is going to have industries within that sector. Some of the industries are going to include banks, insurance, and real estate. So if you're looking for a REIT or a real estate investment trust, then you might want to you're probably going to have to look in the financial sector in order to find it. If you're looking at something like a stock for Bank of America, Wells Fargo, or Chase, then you're going to be in the financial sector. Same thing with insurance. However, if you're interested in something like, Merck Pharmaceuticals, Perrigo, who actually makes, like compounding products, or Pfizer, then you're going to be looking in the healthcare sector, and then you're going to find out which industry that's in. Biotech, a lot of this stuff with Ebola that was going around some time ago, that's going to be biotech related. So you're going to have equipment as well in healthcare. You got to have machines, x-ray machines, CT scans, things like that are all going to be within this sector. And then next you have technology. So you're going to have semiconductors, equipment, software. So, you're looking at your Intel, your Microsoft, your Apple, things like that are providing technology to everyone. And then lastly, we have utilities here, and that's going to be your electric, gas, and water. Now, of course, if you have residents, electric, gas, and water are a requirement. You have to have all of them. And even if you might have all electric or, all gas, which most people are going to have all electric or both electric and gas. But in essence, you're going to have all three or at least two of these utilities. And that's one thing, whenever you're looking at the stock market, you have to factor in, okay, which items are going to be necessary and which ones aren't necessary. And then that might actually decide how that particular sector and industry is going to perform. Well, if you think about it, healthcare is required, financial is required, utilities are required, and technology, it's required in this day and age. But however, you got to have electricity, you got to have gas, you got to have water. But you don't necessarily have to have a computer. You don't necessarily have to have a phone. With finance, you need to have a bank. If you work anywhere, most likely you're going to have a bank. If you drive a car, you have to have insurance. If you own a home, you have to have insurance. If you own a home, it's real estate. So same thing, we're looking here at healthcare. It's going to have equipment, pharmaceuticals. As people get older, they're going to have ailments. They're going to need medication. That's going to be in this area. So what you should do is when you're looking in the stock market, as part of your strategy, you can see how are the sectors performing as a whole. And you can actually look at this in your brokerage firm, or go to something like a Bloomberg or Yahoo Finance. And you can see, okay, how's the financial sector performing as a whole? Oh, it's up 25%. Let me go ahead and look at that. How's the healthcare sector performing? Oh, it's only up, excuse me. Oh, it's only up 2%. Maybe I shouldn't mess with that right now. Or if it's down, maybe I can look at it to see, is this a buying opportunity? So This, in essence, is how sectors are. This is how they're broken down. You're going to have some broad categories. Of course, these aren't all the categories. And then you're going to have some industries within that sector. And so if you are looking at, an airline stock, and let's say, so you're in a transportation sector, and then you're looking at an airline stock. So an airline is going to be your industry. Well, if you're looking at Southwest Airlines, for example, you're not going to want to compare Southwest Airlines stock to Wells Fargo because they're not in the same industry. They're not even in the same sector. However, if you're looking to buy JP Morgan Chase stock and you compare that to Bank of America, then you will want to compare those two because they're both in finance and they're both banks. So that's just something to consider when you're looking at sectors. Remember, the sector down formula is going to be you look at the sector, then you look at the industry, and then you find the stock within the industry. Now, of course, this is all just for teaching purposes. This isn't necessarily a direct method to stock picking, but it is pretty helpful. And, we definitely recommend you just kind of looking at things on a broader scope and kind of narrowing that down, because one of the things people struggle with is finding stocks to invest in. And we actually mentioned in our ebook, Jumpstart Your Investments, about a process to find stocks that's real simple. All you need is an inquiring mind and a cell phone or the internet, whichever one you have, at that moment. But it's definitely going to help you in research, but you can always go back to the sectors as a whole and go down, get more detailed and to see what investments might be out there for you.